What is good, YouTube? Hopefully you're all having a good day. We're back from a few weeks off. This is another podcast edition joined by the DCTVShow. Thank you, Ben, for coming on as usual.
No problem.
Yep. So this podcast is going to be a Marvel heavy podcast. This week we have one DC topic to discuss, but that's going to be later on. But we're going to start off with the whole controversy surrounding Brie Larson and her Captain Marvel movie. Now, Ben, obviously you and me were going to see an early screening of it in like obviously me personally, I'm very excited for Captain Marvel, but I know that there's a lot of hatred towards this movie. A lot of hate. Have you noticed this?
I think it all sort of, as far as I can trace it back, it started when I think Brie Larson made a few comments, if you remember, in
yes.
I think it was at a film festival.
Yes.
About critics or something,
yes.
That she wants more diverse critics, right? I think that's where it started, and then it's sort of gone on, and then there was the Rotten Tomatoes thing recently.
Yeah.
And they took that off, presumably because of the Captain Marvel controversy.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah,
Do you think that's where it started, right?
Yes, exactly. That's where it started. Literally, that's what you said was basically where I was going with this. So
yeah.
sit tight. I'm gonna speak for a few. It may sound a bit long, but bear with me. Now, for those of you who don't know, Brie Larson has received much criticism as of late because some comments she made not too long ago, like you just said, Ben, and I'll get to that in a minute. But this thing, she said, has caused a lot of backlash on her, as evidently seen on social media and Rotten Tomatoes. Now, people are already going on Rotten Tomatoes to input negative reviews about Captain Marvel before even seeing the movie, which for me personally, I think that's just very stupid. But regardless of that, recently Rotten Tomatoes have responded to this by not allowing reviews on the site from fans before a said movie is released. And for me personally, I don't know why they didn't do that before, because it's just logical, really. But yeah, so basically let's now dive into what she actually said. So she said, and I quote, "About a year ago, I started paying attention to what my press days looked like and the critics reviewing movies, and noticed it appeared to be overwhelmingly white male. So I spoke to Dr. Stacy Smith at the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative, who put together a study to confirm that. Moving forward, I decided to make sure my press days were more inclusive. After speaking with you, the film critic Valerie Complex, and a few other women of color, it sounded like across the board they weren't getting the same opportunities as others. When I talked to the facilities that weren't providing it, they all had different excuses." Now, so that is basically the quote that sparked all this hatred towards Brie Larson and the Captain Marvel movie. So first of all, does what Brie Larson said make her a racist?
A racist?
Yes.
You mean? Is that what people were saying?
That's what I've searched people. Yeah. Does it make her a racist?
Oh, no. It doesn't make her racist. I think the way she worded it, I don't take any offense to it, but the way she worded it, I think offended a lot of people, especially, I guess, I'm guessing it didn't really offend a lot of critics. I think it offended more fans.
Yes.
Because she sort of said, white males. And when you look at it, the large majority of the Marvel comic book fan base is white males.
Yeah.
And that's just a stat.
Yeah.
And so I think they took offense. And I don't think it's her being racist. Like, she's white herself, but
exactly.
she's a woman.
Yeah.
But, so it's not racist, no.
Yeah, for me personally, yeah, I agree. It's not racist, but yeah, she could have worded it a bit differently, And like you said, it's mainly the fandom that are upset about this, and not really the critics. And it's understandable. I get why, because most of them are white males, or that's common knowledge, really. And that technically leads to the second topic, the second question I have regarding this. So do you think Captain Marvel is going to suffer due to the fan backlash and negativity behind it?
is it going to suffer? Do you mean in terms of like how many people see the film, like the money,
Yeah.
or the critic reviews, or?
Yes. Well, the critic reviews so far have been positive, so I'm not really worried. I'm not really.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
already know.
So
Yeah.
will it affect it in terms of audience? I think most people, I think a lot of people on Twitter and stuff really overrate the fact that most of these people that watch the film aren't on Twitter.
Exactly.
Don't know about this.
Exactly. That's
So if it's I don't think it's going to really affect it that much. Maybe a few people on Twitter won't see it, maybe like a couple of hundred, but that's not too big of a difference. So no, I don't think it will.
exactly. Literally, I wrote down on my notes. That's what you just said. I just wrote down on my notes. I don't think it will suffer all that much because as of this moment, number one, Captain Marvel is the second biggest MCU solo movie in terms of pre-sale tickets, with Black Panther, of course, being the number one in terms of solo standalone movies. And the second reason is also you have to look at it this way. We as comic book fans are just a small minority of a much larger movie audience. The general movie audience doesn't really know or even pay attention to any of this stuff really. So, like you just said, we're, a small bunch. So maybe a small bunch of the fandom won't go see it. But we all know that the majority will, at the end of the day they will eventually. So I feel like Captain Marvel, it will be fine. It's nothing really to worry about, to be honest with you.
And just quickly, I was just looking at something she said. She clarified after, I don't know how long after it was, but she said, what I'm looking for is to bring up more seats at the table. No one is getting their chair taken away. There's not less seats at the table, there's just more. So I think if she sort of worded it differently, it wouldn't have invigorated so many people. If she said, oh, I think we should diversify, I think, rather than specifically say, oh, there's too many white males reviewing these films, blah, blah, blah. I think she should have said, we need to diversify and bring in more, white or male, and, clarified the fact that she's not saying, oh, let's chuck away these critics' job. Just bring more people. So I think it was a bit of wording. But there was one thing from that, when she first made that statement, she said something about how a film is, I think she was talking about A Wrinkle in Time, how the film is made for kids, and it's, she doesn't care what, I believe, I'm just paraphrasing here, she doesn't really care what a white male critic thinks of that. I kind of understand that, but when you look at a critic's job, it's to review every single film they can. So I don't really agree with that part, but with everything else, I think she just worded it a bit wrong, and I don't think it's going to affect anything.
Yeah, I literally agree with you and everything you just said, really, to be honest with you. But anyway, so moving on from the MCU, now we're moving on to the MCU TV side of things, specifically Marvel Netflix. Now, as of right now, I wanted to talk about this last week, but we didn't get the chance to because, of course, we didn't do a podcast last week. So essentially, everyone knows by now that the last two remaining Marvel Netflix shows that weren't still cancelled, that was, of course, Punisher and Jessica Jones, have now been cancelled since last week, causing Netflix pinning the final nail in the coffin to the Marvel Netflix universe. So I have to ask, why is Netflix cancelling all the Marvel shows? I have a pretty good understanding as to why, but I want to know what you think why it is first.
So it's, I'm a little bit confused because at first I was like, okay, I can see why you're maybe doing Iron Fist and Luke Cage. Not as many people watch them. And then it was Daredevil, and then it was a bit like, what is happening here? There is something behind the scenes. So by then I was like, okay, the Punisher and Jessica Jones are going to get, cut off because why would you cut out Daredevil with such a great response to the season and the show as a whole? And same thing for Jessica Jones and the Punisher, because they're very sort of highly rated. I think it's probably something with the link between Netflix and Marvel, and how maybe it is Netflix doing it, or maybe it is Marvel pulling it away. I don't know, but I don't think they're probably going to redo do these shows after, in my opinion. So I'm a bit confused. I just want them to clarify why they're doing it.
Okay, so I have a good understanding as to why. Like, they haven't actually, no one has actually come out and said this is why they've, done this. No. But if you look at some stuff and what people have said, and you can put some pieces together, you can paint a picture as to why. So there's a few things going into this year. One of that being Disney obviously owns Marvel. You have and they're obviously launching their streaming service. That's number one. Number two, you have to consider the production costs for all these shows. I was literally researching the other day, like I told you about literally before we started the podcast, about my production idea. So I was literally, when I was doing my research about this production idea that I had, I was looking at the cost for a single episode, and ironically Daredevil came up when I was doing my research, and I saw that it cost them, I think it was 4 or 5 million per episode. And if you times that by 13, that is $65 million per episode, which is pretty expensive, So from what I'm understanding is that Netflix, they feel that these shows are too expensive to make for another company who are going to be rivaling them literally by the end of this year, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's essentially why I feel that they are cancelling these shows. They don't want to spend a ton of money on these shows because it's going to cost them too much, and they're going to produce content that's basically promoting their rival. So that's why they're canceling the shows. But, and this when I saw this the other day, it just brought me joy that there's still hope for these characters to be revitalized. Like I feel like these same characters, the one that you see on the Netflix shows, with the same actors and everything, to come back. Because the same day that Punisher and Jessica Jones got cancelled, Marvel TV president came out and basically implied that they are working on something for these characters behind the scenes. And the very last line he said, "to be continued." That was the last line he said in that statement. So that just makes you believe that, hold on, are they working out something with Netflix to try and get these characters back on their side so that they can produce these shows elsewhere? And we know that these shows have a contract. So Netflix have a contract where if these shows ever got cancelled, they will still hold the distribution rights for a few years. So what Marvel TV could do is they could either work out a deal with Netflix to maybe buy the rights back so that they can produce the shows again, or they can see out the contract. They can wait 2 years, and then once those 2 years are up or whatever, then they can go back and revisit this universe. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think there is a chance, but in my mind, I feel like they're sort of just not going to do it. I have this feeling, I want them to bring them back, but I have this feeling that they're sort of, maybe this is a way for them, I don't know if it's stretching too far, but to say perhaps introduce the Punisher or to introduce Daredevil to, say, another property, whether it's in films or TV. I just have this feeling that we're not going to see them again, but I think there's definitely a chance we can if they bring it back. But yeah.
With me, I'm not really holding my breath, but because I don't want to be disappointed if we don't ever get it. So I'm not expecting to see them, but I'm not losing hope either, because I say this every time. Daredevil season 3, my second favorite season of any show I've ever watched. So I'm not losing hope, but at the same time, I'm not expecting it to happen at the same time. But I would very much like it to happen. But but then again, like what you just suggested, if they were to go on TV, if they were to go from TV to the movies, so would it be the same actors? But then again, if it's different actors, then that officially makes the Netflix shows not part of the MCU. But they already said that, yeah, these shows are in that world, just not, they're just not crossing over.
I don't think they're going to cross over. That's the thing. Like, I know it's sort of like everyone's been theorizing up, and they always drop hints at it being in the same world, but we've never seen it, and I don't think it's actually like ever going to happen from what I can see. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get a crossover, but I just don't. I don't think we're going to get a crossover with the Defenders and the Avengers now. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I just don't think they should recast these characters to be in the MCU, because they've already, like I said, they've already like basically implied that it is in the MCU. So for them to now outright cast someone else to play these characters, it won't feel right to me. So it won't feel right to me, in my opinion. But yeah, anyway, we'll just have to see how it goes. We'll just have to see what they do next. I definitely don't think this is the last time we're gonna see these characters on screen. It's just a matter of who's gonna play them and whether it's a movie and TV.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's move on to the final topic of this week's podcast. Now we're moving over to DC. And last week we got leaked images that Godspeed is in fact officially joining The Flash in episode 18 this season. Episode 18 this season isn't actually titled Godspeed. Now, first of all, I want to comment on the leak, on the first look leak, because we didn't get the chance to speak about it last week. But I love this suit. Like, it's so comic accurate. In my opinion, it's one of the most comic accurate Arrowverse suits that we've had so far. What do you think about the leak suit?
I am so excited. I love this. I loved, especially when we first saw there was a script. There was not a script leak, there was a title leak, and it was Godspeed, and everyone was like, oh, okay, alright, it's probably just going to be like, sort of just saying Godspeed Barry or something.
Yeah.
But no, we got those photos, and the suit looks so cool.
Yeah.
And he's going to be fighting Nora, and it's like a different version of Nora. She's got like that ponytail again.
Yeah.
If you've seen the set photos.
Yeah.
And Godspeed looks so comic book accurate that it's just incredible, and I love the color scheme, and I think they've done a really good job, and I just can't wait to see him running with yellow lightning. Isn't that going to be so cool?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I'm so excited. I've been wanting Godspeed since, like, with me, I'm like a lot of other fans of the show. I've been wanting Godspeed since the end of season 3, the end of the Flash season 3, with the whole Speed Force Storm thing. But then fans have been clamoring for Godspeed since the end of season 3. But there's a couple of questions that I have regarding the Godspeed character. First one, is Godspeed going to only be a one and done villain, or will we see more of him in the future? So a one and done villain like the Rival, or will we see more of him in the future, maybe like in season 6?
I don't think he's going to be one and done. It seems like they are sort of amping up for potentially this. I don't know how long he's going to be in this specific episode, but I don't feel like they're going to waste such a hyped up villain, because they know that they'd pay attention to all of this. Everyone's like, oh, Godspeed for like the last 2 years. And now we're finally getting him. I don't think they're going to do a Rival thing or like a trajectory thing, which was even less.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just like a few scenes here in the future, because we know Barry and Nora, the short-haired Nora, present day, do time travel to 2049, and that's where we see Godspeed fighting this other version of Nora. And I feel like maybe some people are theorizing Godspeed maybe turns into Red Death, and maybe he's the villain for next season. Maybe that's how it all links in. I think that's an interesting theory. But yeah, I feel like they're amping up for something bigger.
You literally just took out my second. Literally just answered my second question. The second question was regarding Godspeed. That what if Godspeed becomes the Red Death and he's the big bad for season 6? You literally just answered that. But yeah, Because obviously I've heard other channels suggest this idea that Godspeed could in fact become the Red Death. For me personally, I can't really say. I don't know. I don't know because we literally know nothing. We can't really say anything until the actual episode comes out. But I think it will be a cool idea to make Godspeed the Red Death, but obviously I wouldn't say make him Red Death immediately in season 6, if you know what I mean. Like have him appear as Godspeed in the first half, and then maybe he becomes the Red Death in like the second half of season 6. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because obviously, if you just make him Red Death straight out the gate, then it's not really Godspeed, if you know what I mean. It's Godspeed, but it's not really Godspeed. You know what I mean?
I totally get it, and I think I would be 100% down for that. I think it's about high time we get another speedster villain again. Everyone was like, "Oh, too many speedster villains."
Yeah,
and I'm always here like, I cannot get bored of speedster villains. They are. If you look at the last 2 seasons, the Thinker and even Cicada, who I do like a bit more than, who I do like a lot more than the Thinker, are still nowhere near as good as even Savitar, which a lot of people don't like.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do. And Zoom and Reverse Flash. Yeah, I think it's about time.
Yeah, I was thinking about this literally like 2 days ago. Like, what you just said, I was thinking that exact same thing. Like everyone was saying, 3 speedsters now. Let's move on. Let's get another type of villain. But they've done this for 2 seasons now, and they haven't really delivered on a different type of villain, in my opinion. Because it just feels like Cicada. It just feels like he should have been defeated a long time ago. Realistically, like let's be real, they should have captured this guy a long time ago. Because he can dampen their powers and whatnot, but it's still just one man, you know. And then we have the Thinker, who's, I would say he's more of a big bad than Cicada, but at the same time, he's not like speedster level threatening, if you know what I mean. He's not speedster level. So that's why I feel like, in season 6, we need to return to the root. We need to go back to the roots. We need to go back to having a speedster villain, and maybe even make it a mystery villain, because I love mystery villains.
Oh yeah, that as well. We need that. I'm sorry, but I really liked the mystery of before they reveal Reverse Flash. I loved that.
Yes.
It was such a great reveal. It got me so excited, and I think that was really good. And I think they should definitely go for a mystery villain, because that was why everyone was talking about Savitar. Have you ever heard since Savitar?
Yeah.
No one's talked as much, have they?
No, that's I'm so glad you brought that up, because I've always had this at the back of my mind. I haven't actually said it out loud, but I've always had this at the back. Actually, I remember saying it to Warstu one time, that the hype for the Flash TV show has gone significantly down since season 3. Season 3, like that was like its peak in terms of popularity, in my opinion, because of the mystery behind Savitar, because they dragged it on for so long. Like we were just curious who it was. But then after the Flash season 3 ended, like there hasn't been so much hype towards the Flash since then. And even in the
I think the closest
Oh yeah.
we got was Reverse Flash recently.
Yeah, Reverse Flash.
But it's still not as high as...
Yeah, still not as high. And even in the, I've even noticed in the DCTV YouTubers, let me not call them DCTV YouTubers, but the YouTubers covering the Flash as well. We always used to, have this, like, communicate with each other. It's gone down. I've noticed that it's gone down. A lot of communication between the different channels have gone down since season 3. So I don't know what I feel like. Season 3 was definitely the peak of the Flash in terms of popularity.
Yeah, definitely. It was great, and also from a biased perspective, us doing videos on it, it's gone down quite significantly. Like it was actually really fun, I think, around the time of doing Savitar, because we had so many ideas going in your head. You're like, oh wait, I can do a video on this, I like this, I like that, I've got a theory. But it's kind of, season 4 was terrible for videos. It was the worst because there was nothing apart from the only good thing about last season was Nora, and that was a mystery. We were like, who the heck is this person? That excited people, fans and us YouTubers alike. But then since then, I guess Reverse Flash recently, but then that's about it because Cicada's got a bit boring by now, and I think we really do need a mystery again. To sort of amp things up. Yeah,
definitely, 100%. Mystery will definitely. I feel like it will definitely bring back, vibes of the Flash season 3. I think, well, anyway. But speaking of vibe, I did not plan this, but speaking of vibe, so obviously there's rumors that Carlos Valdez, is that his name? Sorry, Carlos Valdez. Yeah, sorry. Who obviously plays Cisco. When I said Carlos Valdez, I was thinking of the footballer, but whatever. I was thinking of have you heard of him though? The footballer. Yeah, I was thinking of him when I said that. But speaking of Carlos Valdez, it's rumored that he's going to be leaving the Flash season 5, and Daniel Panabaker's Caitlin Snow, Killer Frost. What do you think about this?
I don't think Caitlin's going to.
Yeah, definitely.
Those reports, if you look carefully, there's no real evidence.
Yeah.
I think that's just like maybe she's just like negotiating her contract or whatever, so to stay on longer or something.
Yeah.
If anything. But I don't think she's leaving. I think Carlos probably is leaving because if you've noticed this season, every few episodes he doesn't appear. It's sort of a bit less and less. You've noticed that he's sort of been weeded out the show a bit.
Yeah, I've noticed.
So I'm not surprised if he does.
Okay, fair enough. Like with me, I'll be very upset because Cisco in the Flash, he's my second favorite. Obviously Barry, then Cisco, then Harrison Wells. Those are my top 3 favorite characters in the Flash show. So obviously I'll be very devastated if he does leave. But I don't know. But why would he leave though? Is it something
before this?
Sorry,
Carlos.
Yeah.
Before he came to the Flash, right?
Yeah.
Carlos never did film or TV. He'd only done Broadway. So I reckon he's going back to Broadway, like Victor Garber, like loads of these people that have been leaving recently, mainly to go to Broadway. So I think he would do that. But yeah, my favourite character, bar Barry, is Caitlin, then Harry, and then Cisco. But yeah, I love Cisco as well, though. So I would be upset.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Caitlin's 4th behind those 3 that I mentioned, then Iris 5th. Yeah, I'll just be devastated. But then again, I definitely don't think Caitlin's leaving. There's no hints towards that at all whatsoever. So I don't know where that even came from. That just came like from out of the blue. But yeah, anyway, for me, I always thought that because there was a report like last month saying that one major cast member is gonna leave the show. I always thought it was gonna be Nora because of I always thought that she's gonna return back to her timeline by the end of this season.
I think there's a chance she stays actually.
But why though? Because
I think either she's going to get erased at the end of the season, right? I think that's one option where she does go away, or it's going to be she fails to do her job. Reverse Flash gets out and she has to stay to stop him, and that leads to Crisis, and then she's in next season.
Okay, that's fair.
I reckon that's one way she can stay.
Yeah, that's one way. Anyway, we just have to see how it all pans out. Yeah, but anyway, that pretty much wraps up this week's podcast. Thanks, Ben, for once again coming on. Hopefully we can do it again. Hopefully we can do it again next week. I'll try and get another person to come on and get as well to join us next week. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, anyway, what do you guys think about any of the topics we discussed? Share your thoughts down below in the comments, and if you want to subscribe to Ben's channel, I'll leave his link in the description also. So if you like this podcast, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel to get more podcasts, and I will see you guys later for more videos.